Hey everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome back to Runer. So today, let's try that melee build. If I can, get the requisite spells, who knows? But I'm crossing my fingers here. All I need is 3 entropy runes, a fire rune, and an air rune. And if I can get all of those, then we're in a really good spot. So remember how to play. It's been a couple of days because, I tend to record in batches, and also when I do like 3-parter episodes, well, they do tend to run content for a little while. Though I'm gonna try, like, especially if it gets to be 3 days in a row, that I'll try and make it so it's actually, like the episodes will go out like every quarter, 3/4 of a day. I don't know. I'll just try and space them out because I don't want to have them all released at the exact same time. Maybe, I don't know. You guys that watch these videos, do you care? Really? I have no idea how you guys prefer the content, but I know that it's probably better if I split it up into bits, because the last run I did, which, was very successful, ended up being like an hour and 10 minutes, and let's be honest here, unless I'm doing specifically a Binding of Isaac run, which is like a daily run, I really do not prefer, jeez, this is kind of the nightmare situation where all of the enemies that I have to fight are close range. Oh well, here we go. Took out at least one of the shock mages. At least the entropy mages can be avoided to a degree and baited. Okay, but yeah, if you have a preference on how I deal with, my videos, tell me, because I don't really care. I don't really have, let's see, I'm trying to figure out, nope, I actually don't know how to pull up the map normally. Oh, and bump the table, sorry. Okay, so I haven't found any extra runes, haven't found anything, and realistically, I guess there is one alternate spell that I could replace one of the 2 flame shields with, and that would be Flamethrower. I guess Entropy Lightning would work too, but at the same time, I really don't want to do another Entropy Lightning, double Entropy Lightning run, because this is just kind of boring, and I'd, much rather just do, a successful Wrecking Ball build instead, because that would be a lot of fun, and I haven't actually managed to do that yet. I kind of got there, but not entirely. I'd also really love to get some like full-on cooldown reduction, because if I can manage that, then we'll be in a really good spot. Also, this is the first time or not the first time, I guess last time I technically was using a direct target spell at the same time, but aiming with the controller is a hell of a lot easier. I'm really happy about that. There's supposed to be a door down. Oh, there it is. Completely missed it. By the way, if I sound a little bit stuffed up, I apologize. I'm allergic to the room I'm in. I'm allergic to the house I'm currently living in. And, well, every once in a while I might have to stop just to sneeze. And, there might be a little bit of jump cut here and there, but not much I can do about it. Also, I actually like the fact that the floating brain tells me where my shots are going to go when I am fighting them. It'd be kind of obnoxious. I don't know how the floating brain would be able to, like, confuse my shots if I'm shooting in, just random directions like I am. Also, I'm going to try and use my class ability a little bit more. It's, half a minute cooldown, but at the same time, there's no real reason for me to hold on to it as much as I do. I should probably also be a little bit more careful. I'm noticing I'm just kind of charging at enemies instead of actually, being careful about it. And largely it's because there's a butt ton of hearts around, but it's a bad habit to start, especially if I want to, make it all the way up to level 9 again. That said, I made it to level 9 largely because I had an absolutely ridiculous build. The Nova build is probably the strongest one I've run into thus far. And realistically, I'm a little bit leery about this one. I did go with Blessing of the Dwarf, right? I think I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. But I'm a little bit leery about like how it's going to turn out when I have the Wrecking Ball build, because I feel like if I run into the Fireborn Voidling, I'm actually going to run into a fair amount of trouble just simply hitting the thing without taking massive quantities of damage. I'd very much, appreciate not taking large amounts of damage. Let's see if I can get past. Okay, the one problem with the duelist abilities, sometimes it can, like, it doesn't go far enough, and you end up getting stuck, like, next to or kind of sort of inside an enemy. And that's kind of frustrating for me because, well, that was a +2 rat I ended up inside. Ooh, we actually only need 1 more entropy rune. That's actually really good. 'Cause assuming that we can get it, we're going to be in a really good spot. Okay. Now, I will say, one thing that I've been noticing recently that I haven't really addressed is some of you guys are actually commenting on the videos, but either you don't have a Google Plus account or something like that, and I can't actually reply to you unless you have one. Which, yes, I know it's really obnoxious, but if you don't have a Google Plus account attached to your YouTube account, I will actually never be able to reply to your comments, and that makes me very sad, because I like replying to everybody, but sometimes just I simply can't. Okay, and this could be really useful, potentially, but not for this one. Actually, wow, that's... Oh, I see. Wow, that is really useful. Not going to be useful for this build, though. Really, I want the quick learner, but this could be really good for another Nova build, for example, because that's mages, elementals, earthens, and demons. That's pretty much everything but beasts and bugs, which is pretty substantial. So I might actually try and get that on one of my longer cooldown type builds. But this build is not going to be about long cooldowns and reducing them. Interesting. The duelist, I'm having trouble figuring out exactly what the duelist does, like the ability, because sometimes it goes for like long distances and sometimes it just, you know, runs into a bunch of enemies close range, and I don't know if there's like a maximum cap on how far you can go with it, or if it's, I don't know, predetermined, like it brings you X distance unless you hit, you know, X number of enemies, or if it's just kind of weird and arbitrary, or maybe I hit something, or maybe I'm just completely wrong, I don't know. I'd have to do more tests with it, but at the same time it's not the kind of thing that I like being risky about. Because I like living. Also, there's a droplet. Not exactly high on my list, or not a droplet. Not exactly high on my list. Oh, huh. I already have 2 water runes. I could potentially actually hold off on it and get triple water, which is a decent melee spell, actually. Let's go into the event room, see what it is. Is it stasis? So you know what I'm going to do? I would like the... No, I do not want to quit the game. I like the idea of triple water, but at the same time, I like the idea of actually having 2 attack spells. So I'm going to get Droplet, let it charge, and then we're going to take this on. Because Droplet is a pretty good complement to Chaos Bolt, and should help substantially here, especially because, I mean, realistically, this event room isn't that bad early on, but like later floors it becomes really problematic. I should probably take out the Mind Mage first and foremost. The other complement to Chaos Bolt that I can think of, apart from Droplet, is the Minder. Ooh. Okay. So, this is tempting. So, we have a couple of abilities here. One, Mental Mastery. Very tempting, just because it would let me put more buffs into Entropy, but at the same time, 20% EXP bonus is probably going to be more helpful, because the more abilities that we can gather, the better off we're going to be, especially because there's a specific ability that I'm looking for and haven't run into yet. So, let's make the first half of our nonsense build. I do kind of wish this was a Wisp run, because unfortunately we don't get all the nice fancy bonuses, but at the same time, I like having Dwarf, because Dwarf gives us a huge damage in melee, or at least close range. So, you guys have been asking for this for a very long time. This is Prismatic Devil, and it's essentially very similar to Flame Devil, but it uses all elements, and it attacks fairly fast, and it gives me nice buffs. So as long as I have right trigger held down, I'm going to collect all sorts of random buffs as we go along, and it does a fair amount of damage. So as long as I can get those fire runes, the Wrecking Ball build is going to work. Let's just get through here. The one problem is, it does have collision issues, sort of, but like, I just murdered all of those guys, no problem. But it's also one of those that if you don't have enough time to charge it up, you do end up, you know, having almost no charges, and so if you run into an enemy, you don't have much. But given a couple seconds, it's fine. I guess this is one of those where I just wish it wouldn't run into walls and stuff, because I find it a little bit obnoxious that, you know, certain really nice spells will collide with walls and just kind of gimp themselves. You know, Flame Salvo, I'm looking at you. Really, that's the primary culprit. That spell would be amazing, but you can't use it in tight spaces, so I'm leery of using it, because there are a lot of tight spaces in this game, especially considering this game's propensity for just chucking a lot of little enemies at you early on when you go into a room. Oh, this is... So we could do plus 5% damage, which is tempting, 4% cooldown, which is super tempting, or entropy levels, which would be really useful, but I think I'm going to go with the cooldown reduction, because honestly that affects everything, and as much as damage is useful, being able to cast my spells a lot, especially with the Wrecking Ball build going, is probably the most useful thing I can think of. Now, I'm not actually sure how useful putting entropy runes into Prismatic Devil goes. I haven't actually looked into, like, what it does, specifically. I'm just trying to Wrecking Ball into these guys. Unfortunately, the Shock Mages do a fair amount of damage, so I'd like to avoid some of it. Now, I'm trying to think of what support spells I want. Dark Wind wouldn't be half bad, because it's a long-range AoE-ish, and it's got a fairly short cooldown, so, I mean, yes, I used it the last run, but I didn't use it enough, and I'd like to use it more, because what I need, essentially, is a couple of really nice, powerful spells. I probably didn't need to pick up that health rune. I'm trying to avoid these guys. I need a couple of sort of distance-clearing spells that can protect me, because as it stands, I've got my charge, but that's not entirely the most effective thing ever. Like, here's the problem with Prismatic Devil. Slows. Slows are wrecking my shit. Actually took a fair amount of damage there, which is obnoxious. Also think, in the future, I'm not going to bother with the Dwarven build. The damage boost is there, but it... I don't know. Might be better to just do Mystic runs, because that allows a heck of a lot more flexibility. I don't know. The other... Yeah... Oh, accidentally used my class ability. Whatever. Ended up working out pretty much alright. So... I have a lot of speed runes. I have 5 speed runes. Now, I could get teleport, or... I don't know what other spells I could do. Interesting question. Well, let's just keep going. And realistically, with the way things are happening right now... Oh, is this the lights one? It is. Okay, let's see how this goes. Right. Top, bottom. Okay. Right, top, bottom, middle, bottom, top, middle. There we go. Beautiful. And ooh, we could go for a shock rune and whatnot. But if I keep piling in, wait, is that? Ah, damn. It's not what I wanted. I was thinking it's like it'd be really nice to have the health boost for killing enemies, considering we're going to need it. That said, I'm probably going to want to do this one. Reduces my health, which is bad, but at the same time, 10% damage is pretty good. I think. I don't know. I'm just guessing at this point, but that seems more useful than everything else. But also, the more cooldown reduction we can stack on ourselves, the more shielding we're going to have. Ideally, I'd like to sacrifice 10% more hit points so I could have the 10% cooldown reduction as well. I mean, hell, if I could get the health boost for killing enemies, and then more of the cooldown reduction abilities, then I'd be a really happy person. Because as it stands, that would let me pretty much just nuke everything really quickly. And then I wouldn't run into the issue of not having shielding initially. Man, this spell does a lot of damage. Just gotta make sure that I don't burn through all of the charges. Whew. Okay. The other nice thing about this is, I kind of mentioned it, but it gives you a buff every time you cast it, or maybe every once in a while when you cast it, but if you notice, I've got a fair amount of buffs just sitting on me. So if I can have, actually, if I could have double Prismatic Devil, that'd be potentially better? Oh, there we go. So all we need is a fire rune. The thing is, though, it doesn't... Uh-oh. So this is a bit of a concern, because, like I was talking about with specific enemies that I don't want to... Holy shit, that does a lot of damage. Okay, with specific enemies that aren't easy to harm without getting close to them. Oh well, doesn't matter that much. So we get a shock rune, and... But yeah, he's a good example of why this build could potentially run into issues, because he had a slow, so me getting close to him could be a problem. Teleport is tempting, admittedly. Oh, no, you aren't getting away with my shock rune. And apparently he had a health rune for me. Health rune. He had health for me. Increases HP, health pack healing by 3. That served us very well the last time, and I don't see why not this time around. So, let's keep going. Down and over, probably. Because we got a lot of room still left. Maybe. Ha! Okay. So, for some reason there I just passed through all of the enemies. Maybe, I don't know, it seems weirdly arbitrary how that whole thing works, you know, dashing through enemies. Whatever, doesn't matter that much. So we've got a couple of hearts left over, and we should be able to go down to floor 3, at the very least, with full health, which is nice. Because I kind of hate it when I don't even make it to the first boss. Then it feels like a wasted run. It's kind of like in Binding of Isaac, when you only make it like a floor or 2 down. It's just like, welp, this is pitiful. But, you know what, we're doing alright here. Speaking of Binding of Isaac, I should probably start that up again, considering Rebirth is coming out in a month, and I'd very much like to cover that one. So, Entropy Rune, or Entropy levels, yeah, why not? Might as well. So, how do I turn on the map? Oh, map is X button. Ah, okay, that's actually far more intuitive, or I guess it's both intuitive and not intuitive, because on one hand, I always expect the map to be select, but in this game, the map is actually, oh, shoot, a couple of +2 elementals, a bunch of bandits. Let's see if I can murder the bandits before they steal any of my shit, because I don't like it when they steal my shit. Also, necromancers. Don't like necromancers. They summon the little guys and they're a problem. We're having some issues here. Lots of oh, jeez. Don't get stuck on stuff, Wander. Don't get stuck on stuff. Yeah, so this is a pretty good example of why it's hard to have a melee build, because there's a lot of shooters. Okay, so, sorry for the delay, or delayed the pause, I don't know. Whatever. Had a sneeze attack. Could not really do much about it. Okay. Well, that was not what I was intending to do. Anyway, so I decided with all those speed runes, seeing as I was in the middle of a pause, I just throw them all into sprint, because between the two of them should give me the movement speed boost to both escape and clear distances. And, well, oh yeah, that's exactly what the doctor ordered, because Prismatic Devil does actually have a fairly good speed boost occasionally. The one problem with it is it's just that, it's inconsistent, and I need something a little bit more on the, you know, consistent side of things to deal with enemies. Dodging bullets, for example. Pretty hard to do without, you know, some amount of a speed boost. Oh, we got a bandit. Don't like bandits. And thus far, yeah, sprint definitely seems to be what the doctor ordered. Ooh, entropy. So, at this point, I'm not 100% certain if I want to do a double devil build, because I like the idea of it more than the execution, but at the same time we have a lot of shock runes, and so I think I'm going to try and do, hey, I could do, oh, or, yeah, here we go. I'm going to try and do is do lightning entropy, boost its damage up, and then between the two of them I'll actually have some directionality, a lot of damage, and that should work. And then the next thing I'm going to do is triple water. Gives me ice storm, goodbye droplet, don't need it. So ice storm is also going to be pretty useful. Let's see what's in this room. Hey, dodging fireballs. So, start using Prismatic Devil. It's going to make it a little bit harder to dodge projectiles on a specific basis, but at the same time, the speed boost could help a lot. Okay, there we go. Is that it? Damn, it's not. It's definitely circular, but that's not it. Okay, so we can get another level in Doctor, which boosts the health back healing even more, which is probably the most useful thing available. There's the other one to knock back enemies that touch us, which is also pretty tempting, but potentially less useful. Let's see who the boss is. Nimbarus. Oh, this is going to be interesting. So, I don't have much for long-range attacks, which is going to be potentially problematic here. But we might be okay anyway. Oh, gotta watch over the green stuff. That green stuff does a fair amount of damage. And, I mean, it's not that I'm particularly low on health, but at the same time, we did come into this boss a little bit injured, and whoops. Note to self, do not use my base attack. Not good. I do kind of wish there was a rare regen buff or something in this game. Like, honestly, like a healing ability would be so cool. But thus far, have yet to run into anything that heals me, so I'm just going to continue assuming that there's nothing. So, lightning entropy does seem to be handling things pretty substantially. It's got a pretty high crit chance, and it's very good at keeping all my enemies off of me. I'm hoping also as part of this run that I can get mindlessness again. It's quite possibly the best possible buff in the game that I have run into yet. Yeah, so between lightning and entropy and the prismatic devil, it's actually giving me the highest amount of shielding I could possibly get against all of these guys. Oh, watch out for that. Don't want to get hit by crazy lightning bolts. But yeah, pretty much any of the pushmons that get close to me just get wrecked by the copious quantities of damage from both spells, which is kind of nice. Actually making it out of here. Ow. Oh. Okay. I was going to say, we're actually making it out of here without taking wholly large amounts of damage. And we managed to get bounced all over the place. It didn't work as well. Okay, so we can do Beast Tamer. Not very useful. Crit Strikes, tempting. Let's go with Inventor. Extra experience. So now we got a triple combiner and some health runes somewhere. Health runes. They're not health runes. What am I talking about? That the only one? Nope, there are two. Beautiful. And we do have a triple. And we've got light, air, and earth. I could try doing light, air, and earth. See what happens there. It's probably the highest temptation. Or I could do double light and something. I don't know. It's an interesting question. Oh, looks like we got a spare heart, so I might as well hold on to it just a little bit. Yeah. I don't want to pick it up yet. Because I'd prefer to kill everything else first. Looks like things are actually having a fairly high drop rate as far as hearts go, which is actually kind of convenient. And I do have to say, the lightning entropy is actually probably a good choice here, just because it does give me some amount of directionality in terms of, like, where I can attack, which is nice, because it means I can actually, like, intentionally kill things instead of just firing myself into them. But it has a fair amount more accuracy than Prismatic Devil. And between the two of them, I should be good. Then again, if I do get a fire rune, I'm not above trying to do the double devil build. Because at the same time, like, as much as I like the idea of having some amount of directionality to where I'm attacking, I do like the idea of just having so many shields. It makes everybody else's head spin. And I guess including mine. Because it'd be really cool. It'd also be really cool to just have double Prismatic Devil, but there are holes in that defense. Because the thing is, you can't really buff Prismatic Devil at all. As far as I can tell, it just... Wow. Took me forever to hit him. All of the like, point of it is... Come on. Bias. I don't even know what bias means. So, I guess that's a bit of a problem, but for me it's... Oh, right. I also have my frost spray that I should probably use. Oh, I'm not going to use it on this level. Everything is dead. And that means we're going on to level 4 with full health, which is nice. But, I don't know. I guess really, if I do get that fire rune, I'm not going to pass up a double devil build. And I'll just keep lightning entropy and escrow, just in case I need it for something. We also have the triple, which begs interesting questions.